What's happening, folks? In today's video I'm going to do a bit of a street photography Q&A thing. I haven't been out in a couple of weeks. It keeps snowing here in Colorado and the roads just have been a bit sketchy for me to drive an hour to where I like to shoot street photography, and nobody's out anyways. So Q&A time. Also, you may have noticed I'm in the basement. My wife's working from home, so I didn't want to be upstairs getting in the way of her Zoom calls and stuff like that. So going to read off some questions on my phone, and the first one I got on Instagram was from Framed Pixel. What's the most funny, weird or ridiculous position you've done just to get a really good shot on the streets? I don't know about positions, but I once kind of lunged in front of some people, so I could see them coming and they were dressed the same and had matching accessories. So I came across the crosswalk, they were coming across another one, and as I got to them, I had the camera like this, and I just lunged right in front of them, and I wasn't really aware that I was doing it at the time, but my friend told me I did a really weird step in front of them, and then after we got past, I pretended that I was shooting the buildings behind them, and they kind of glanced back like that was weird and walked off. So that's probably the weirdest position type thing that I've done. Corey Overton asked, do you ask permission to take photos of people? No, I try to, I think if you're asking permission, the photo's no longer candid and people will in some way sort of pose, and I don't know that I have the brains to set up some sort of street photo, so I like to take candid street photos, and I personally resonate more with those types of images anyways. Sometimes I may ask if I can shoot something that's happening. One time we saw some people setting up this fake turf seating area sort of thing, and they were painting it and stuff like that, and took a couple photos as we were walking up, and then they said hello, so I was like, you know, we're street photographers, can we document you guys doing this? It seems like a kind of cool thing you're doing. And they were like, sure, why not? And we were like, we'll send you the pictures, and sent them, and they posted them on their Instagram stories or whatever. But yeah, they were fine with it. And so I think some situations maybe I would do it, if there was I don't know, maybe people skating or something like that, and I wanted to photograph that. I'd maybe gently make my way up to it and then be like, hey, I'm shooting street, I want to document what you guys are doing. It seems like, you know, it's a cool thing that I don't know, it's what you're doing looks cool, you're clearly good skaters, I wanted to document this for a little bit, is that okay? And if they say no, say no worries and walk off. But generally I will just look for interesting things that are happening on the street that are passing by and try and make something candid out of that, and most of the time I'm not asking permission. Metal-faced villain asks for a good flash for a Ricoh GR or X100V. I've never used an external flash. If I use a flash, it's just the built-in ones, and I think they're perfectly fine. A friend of mine does have a Fuji flash on his GR, and it was like $400, and it's really small, but it takes a long time to recharge. So it's more powerful, I guess, but the onboard flash I think does the job. All right, Mark, is it Mark Holland? I didn't click on the profile, but I've definitely spoke to this guy a couple of times before. He said, what's your favorite thing on the streets to capture, moments or light and shadows? I would love to have both at the same time, but I guess generally moments. The thing that I like the most is if there's an interesting gesture or something like that happening. It doesn't even need to be necessarily a moment, just well, I guess it's still a moment, someone pointing something. I've recently been noticing people pointing and trying to catch photos of that. So yeah, moments is better, but it's always made better if there is good light and shadow to complement it, or just good light in general to complement it. But sometimes I'll find the good light and then wait there instead of just photographing the light and shadow and someone walking through it. I'll wait for someone interesting or something interesting to happen within that area. Hopefully that makes sense. So Gestures and moments, I guess, is like the most preferred, but if I can get the light as well, I'll wait for that to happen. So yeah, moments first, I guess, and then light and shadow. Max Gilardi, which AF mode do you use when you don't use zone focusing, single or continuous, single point or zone? I'm usually just using it at like single shot, like the middle, the center point focus, and I might back button focus to get to like pre-focus it, or honestly I don't remember the last time I used autofocus for any street photography shots, but yeah, if I'm doing something, it's usually the middle one, and I'll focus, recompose, or something like that, because I don't have the time or like the patience to move the focus point to where I want. Home Alone photos is an old friend of mine from Scotland. I went to like primary school with this guy. What do you think of photoshopped street photos? It depends how much they're photoshopped. If they're photoshopped enough, they stop being street photos and become like digital art or something like that. If there's enough, I don't like to do it. I just can't be arsed. Like I can't be bothered trying to remove things, and like I enjoy the process of taking the photo and the reality of the photo that I got. I don't really enjoy trying to make it into something that it wasn't. I know there's a lot of debate about removing distractions and stuff like that, and I know Steve McCurry removed distractions in some of his photos, and I mean that's fine. I think as long as you're not lying about it and trying to say that that's how you captured something, then it's probably okay. But yeah, I just can't. I don't care if people do it or not. I just care if people do it and then lie to say that that's the moment that they got and they didn't do anything about it. But yeah, I just don't like to do it myself, because it's not what I find enjoyable about photography. I just like taking the photo and trying to make something in real time. Alright, what else have we got? The Paul Harrison says, how are you finding shooting at 28mm? It's good. I like it. It's maybe a little wider than I'm used to. Well, it is a little wider than I'm used to. I usually shoot like 35. There's something sort of freeing about it, at least with the GR. The camera just feels very like maneuverable, and you know you can almost just aim it in the rough direction of the stuff you want and get what you need in the frame. So yeah, it's cool. I like 28. I don't know if I would take it over 35, but it's definitely like a great alternative. I would love if there was just more happening in the streets. I think 28 with a single subject makes it harder to, I don't know, have more of an interesting frame. 28 seems like it's great when there's lots of stuff going on, and yeah, you can fill up that frame with lots of different moments and things. David Newman, maybe a video about exposing for lights and shadows. I could maybe do a video about that. Honestly, especially when I'm out in the streets, I just go to 1/500th f8, sometimes 1/1000th if it's really bright, and auto ISO, and then just take my exposure compensation either at 0 or like minus a third of a stop, and that's how I expose for the highlights most of the time. And I'm happy to leave shadows darker, so I'm more concerned about preserving highlights. But not a bad idea. I might see if I can make a video that has enough substance in it, then I'll do that. Okay, someone, Nat says, are you considering to get the XE4? Would love your user opinion on the camera. I would love to get a hold of an XE4. I'm definitely not going to buy one, but if I can find someone who's willing to lend me, or a shop that would let me use one and promote their shop for using it, or you know, if B&H would send me one to try out and I'd send it them back and I can do a review on it, I would totally do that. I would like to do that. It seems like an interesting camera. I don't think it's one that I would want or need, but I would definitely love to try it out. Alex Green says, question 1, favourite camera setup of all time, and also what is your Grail setup? My favourite camera setup that I've had so far has been the X100V, and that's the camera that I've used for the most part for the last year. The GR is pretty close second, but there's just more that I feel I could do / more versatility with the X100V, maybe, at least just maybe for the way I shoot. I do love the pocketability of the GR. I wish like you could combine the two of those. X100V is my favourite of all time. X100F would probably just as good for the way that I use it. But the Grail setup, Leica M10 35mm Summicron, I think that would be probably it. I can't afford that though, so you know, maybe I would get like an M240, M240p, and 35 Summicron, 35 Summarit. The 2.5 one would be just fine actually. That would be fine as well, and never shoot lower than 2.5. Yeah, something like that as the Grail setup. But I don't know if I would then be mad at it and miss the X100V or something. Next question was, do you location scout on Google Maps before you head out, or just kind of follow your instincts? I might location scout if I was going somewhere where I needed to know where like the centre of town was or something. When I go to Denver, I just go to the same middle of the city because that's generally the most busy part of the city just now. If there was an event happening, I might location scout for things around there. Sometimes I just like to location scout just to see what a place looks like rather than to think about where I would shoot. But yeah, when I'm there, I'll generally follow where there are people rather than just like what the location looks like. That makes sense? I think so. And Glenn Ho says, what is the best time to start the trip / best time of day for nice photos, and how long do you go for? It depends where you are, what time of year you are, and what the weather's like, I guess. In Colorado, the best time of day for photos is early afternoon, when for now anyways, this is probably going to change when everything opens up. Early afternoon in Denver, people are coming out. There's kind of like a lunch hour rush between like 12 and 2, so there's a bit more stuff happening on the streets. Usually by the time I get up there, it's 11 o'clock and I'll shoot till about 3. That's just now in the winter. In the summertime, I might get up there 11 or 12 and shoot till 4 or 5. The light's always better when the sun's lower, so whatever time of year it is, you know, in the summertime, 5 o'clock onwards, 4 o'clock onwards, the light starts to get good. In the winter, it's pretty much good all the time in Denver because the sun's kind of low most of the day. But the problem with that is you only get then like certain beams of nice light in different parts of the city, so you get this like flat light elsewhere. So it makes it a little more difficult, but then pleasing light when you're in it. There's not a black and white answer to this, I'm sorry. And so in the summertime, I'll shoot when the sun's really high, the light's really harsh. I don't find that as pleasing, but when there's actually a subject to shoot, I'll just do my best to use the harsh light in a way that, or just shoot. I just shoot it and hope for the best. And if the light's not the best, but there's like a good gesture or something, then I'll take what I can get, you know. How long do you go for? Yeah, I try to go for at least 4 hours so that I can get like a good amount of time in there. I would love to go out every day if I was commuting in and out or doing a lot of walking around the city. I feel like if you live somewhere like London or New York where that is the norm, it'd be great. You could shoot every day, especially on like your lunch hour or something. That'd be awesome. And that is it for the questions. I don't know if any more got posted on Instagram, but the thing disappeared and now I can't see what responses were. So hopefully I didn't miss any out. The heating's coming on, so hopefully there's not too much noise in the background. But anyways, I'm finishing up the video, so thank you very much for watching. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Hopefully next week I'll be back out in the city and there'll be some sun and not 7 inches of snow to wade through. So yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.